After the incredible weekend of Xbox news and announcements, and also knowing what games are coming to Xbox Game Pass, I think all of us are really excited to get our hands on the new releases this fall and into 2026. We are a little while away yet, but we still have some fantastic new Xbox and Game Pass games releasing for this week. So, my name is Fletcher, this is Xbox Nation, and today I'll be covering the 14 brand new Xbox and Game Pass games releasing this week, and to see if any of them are really worth your time and money. This video is a couple of days late due to all of the Xbox news we received, but with that out of the way, let's dive in and see what's in store for our Xbox consoles. First up, and I think this has to be one of the largest Xbox Game Pass releases for this week, is Space Marine Master Crafted Edition, and it dropped onto Xbox Game Pass on the 10th of June. Of course, this is a rather nice remaster of the original Space Marine back on the 360, but now puts us back in the shoes of the Ultramarine called Captain Titus. This one though sees you battling a ton of different orcs across various different locations, but of course, like Space Marine 2, there are a lot of surprises along the way. This remastered version includes some nice quality of life features such as 4K 120 FPS support, some quality of life changes to the HUD and voice lines, and even a revamp of some facial animations to buff it all up a bit. This one has reviewed quite well across the board so far, and it looks like another must-play title with your Xbox Game Pass subscription. Yes, this is also currently an Xbox console exclusive alongside the PC launch, so it's a great grab for our subscription. Rainbow Six Siege X also launched onto Xbox on the 10th of June, and you might be wondering what is actually different compared to the previous version of Rainbow Six Siege. Well, for starters, this newest entry has now gone free to play, so you can play it across all of your Xbox consoles as long as you've got an Xbox Game Pass subscription. A big benefit is that if you do have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you do get access to the Elite Edition for free, which includes some nice extra skins, XP bonuses, and so much more. The new Siege also includes a big highlight which the Ubisoft team have constantly mentioned, and it's called Dual Front. This is essentially sabotage from the older Call of Duty titles, but essentially each team has a bomb site, so you have to attack and defend simultaneously, and then you have a death counter like you do in Team Deathmatch. There also seems to be some improvements to the visual fidelity alongside a few extra implementations to the gameplay, such as rappelling around different corners. It seems like a pretty decent update, and you can play it right now. Obviously, a very divisive game that has just released as of today is MindsEye, and it's looking rather rough around the edges from the majority of Xbox console owners who have played it so far. If you are unfamiliar with this game though, it's essentially a story-driven action-adventure thriller set in a fictional near-future Americana, mainly in a city called Red Rock. In this campaign, you will play as Jacob Diaz, a former military drone pilot who has been implanted with a MindsEye chip, and it allows him to interface with the drones directly. We will have to enter Diaz's story after he's left the military and his chip has been decommissioned, a process that's actually left his memory in pieces, and it leaves us to discover it. It sounds pretty interesting in its concept, but the game does seem to be having a ton of issues on consoles currently, with the Xbox version getting patches later than other competitors. It seems like a lot of people are also mentioning a lot of poor frame rate issues and constant dips, so it's certainly looking like a game that should have been delayed. Still, if you want to try out MindsEye from this brand new studio, then you can do so as it's available to purchase right now. One game that I'm actually currently reviewing at the moment is The Alters, and this lands day one onto Xbox Game Pass on the 13th of June. The Alters isn't just another survival game as it may want you to believe, it's actually more of an emotional journey that asks one profound question. Essentially, what would happen if you could meet the person you might have become before? The game will follow a man called Jan Dolsky, the sole survivor of an ill-fated space expedition who must create alternative versions of himself to escape a hostile planet. Using a mysterious substance called Rapidum, you will literally build a crew from Jan's alternate life paths. The core gameplay loop here looks to combine that traditional survival mechanics but with a deep narrative story. Alongside that, we'll also pilot a massive wheel-shaped base alongside the planet's surface to essentially stay out of the deadly sun's range. You will have to do this all whilst managing your very own crew of alternative selves. It's really cool, it's one that you definitely need to keep an eye on, and I think you'll be interested in diving into this one later this week. On the 11th of June, you will have to embark on a thrilling journey in God of Weapons, an action roguelike where you must ascend the Tower of Zor to reclaim the last light for the world. In this action roguelike, you will have to survive hordes of different monsters on every level with automatic weapon attacks. There is also the ability to dodge and collect loot to improve your chances in the next round. These sorts of games are always about strategy, reflexes, and smart movement, and from the reviews over on PC currently, it's looking like a fairly decent indie experience. There seems to be a greater emphasis in this one on your inventory management, as you'll have to essentially move everything within your backpack, so there's that real sort of risk and reward scenario. This is looking great. I do love that we're still seeing some progression in this roguelike genre, and again, this one comes to the Xbox consoles on the 11th of June. A fast-paced top-down indie shooter called Memory Lost will land onto the Xbox Series consoles on the 12th of June, and upon doing some research on my end, it's looking pretty nice. First made available back on PC via Steam, Memory Lost is a story-driven, fast-paced cyberpunk shooter where you're not just fighting enemies, but you will actually become them. You'll be able to possess enemies, adapt their weapons and skills, and then fight ruthless corporations. Of course, along the way with any of these games, you will be able to uncover different secrets, upgrade your abilities, and then shape your own fate in this world. Many of the reviews over on PC do give quite an inkling that visually it can be a little bit inconsistent, and it does have some pitfalls in terms of its performance, but the gameplay as a whole and that unique premise does make it one for us to experience. If you want a different take on this top-down shooter genre, then this might be worth picking up for this week. Quite an awesome looking indie that I've never heard of before prior to making this video is called Wizards of Legend 2, and this one has actually been out on PC in early access for quite a little while now. While it wasn't available on Xbox during that period, the game is actually set to leave their early access period on the 12th of June and will then land on consoles with the version 1.0. As mentioned, the game has been in early access for several months now, allowing PC players to try out the co-op action roguelike title, and they've done so with many really loving this newer entry, even though there does seem to be some flaws with the balancing. If you're unfamiliar with this franchise, it's an action-packed follow-up to the acclaimed dungeon delving original, featuring a vibrant new 3D visual tone alongside some fast-paced 2-player online co-op. The developers have also mentioned there will be 4-player co-op available at launch, so if you're looking for a new co-op game to play with your friends, then this might be worth picking up when it comes to Xbox this week. There was no brand new trailer released for this reveal, so we'll just have to wait and see what this one looks like and plays like later this week. Now, I'm a bit surprised I wasn't made aware of this next game. The visuals, as you can see right now, are so utterly gorgeous, and I'm so surprised that this game hasn't received more fanfare. Forgotlings is a breathtaking cinematic action-adventure set in an enchanted realm inhabited by lost things searching for a purpose. Having done a bit of a deeper look and investigation on this one, we will essentially journey to a distant corner of our collected memories and untie warring tribes against a mysterious looming threat to their existence. It seems to be a wholly original story world filled with wonder and imagination, and it's still kind of blowing my mind with its own visual style. Forgotlings was also actually funded over on Kickstarter, and it seems as though the team didn't really hit all of their targets, which is a shame, so I'm really hoping they have a successful release this week. If you're digging this art style, the premise of that deep story with some fantastic voice work, and you do like side-scrollers, then this one needs to be on your radar when it launches on the 12th of June. A new nightmare is coming for Five Nights at Freddy's fans, and it might be one of the most terrifying yet. Secret of the Mimic is the next entry in the long-running horror franchise, and it launches this Friday, of course on Friday the 13th, on Xbox consoles. And for one, I really won't be diving into this one. As I mentioned before, I'm not a massive horror game fan. Though if you're interested, this one is building on the eerie legacy of its predecessors, and Secret of the Mimic looks to delve deeper into that unsettling mystery that's captivated all of the fans worldwide. While specific details about the entire plot have remained under wraps until this very day, we can expect to dig into the past to uncover the horrors that lie ahead. The developers have actually promised, though, a gripping narrative fused with the franchise's signature jump scares and psychological tension. I won't lie, I still don't know why these games have such a wild appeal, but I know they've garnered a massive fan base over the years, and this one is really being hyped up for sure within that community. Are you excited for this new Five Nights at Freddy's? You'll have to let me know down below. A big shadow drop at the Xbox showcase, which I can actually mention for this week, is Final Fantasy 16, and I know so many, including myself, have been eagerly waiting for the newer Final Fantasy games to land on Xbox. This version of Final Fantasy 16 that's available for us right now is the Complete Edition, and this includes the brand new 2 expansions. I have actually been playing through this one in hopes of doing a review on the Xbox version by the start of next week, so make sure you're subscribed for that. But if you want to check out the performance in the meantime, I do have a video comparison of both the Xbox versions available on the channel right now. I was actually really curious and put out a poll earlier today as well to see if any of you have dived into this new Final Fantasy experience, and it seems quite a few of you are actually waiting for this one, potentially for a sale, with some of you actually diving into this one relatively soon. If you have any questions you want me to answer in the upcoming review, do let me know down below. In early 2025, former Xbox Game Pass title Rollerdrome was actually delisted on digital storefronts following the sale of publisher Private Division. However, this week, the skater shooter has been revived by owner 2K and is now back on the Xbox Store. Though it's not a brand new game, Rollerdrome is now available digitally once again, although it's unfortunately no longer part of Xbox Game Pass. Curiously, the game is now published by Take-Two rather than Private Division, but at least it's available to buy again this year. I never actually personally got to play Rollerdrome when it was available on Xbox Game Pass, but I do know that many of you really loved it. It was a really stylish take on that sort of Tony Hawk style skating game, but with the ability to shoot weapons and fight enemies. I'm surprised I never did try it, as it really does seem right up my alley, but I'd be curious if any of you have tried this one out before. I would love to see Rollerdrome come back to Xbox Game Pass one day, but for now, the game is now available for $30 or £25 on the Microsoft Store. A big surprise that dropped during the Summer Games Fest was that the expansion for Lies of P called Overture is now available to play on our Xbox Series consoles. This one is a prequel to the story that we got to experience in the city of Krat, and it looks to have a ton of content out the gate, making it a quite meaty expansion considering that price point. I absolutely adored Lies of P when it dropped onto Xbox Game Pass, as I'm never a big fan of Souls-likes, but for me that setting along with the combat really stuck with me, although I never actually got to finish the damn game before it left Game Pass. Anyway, if you are interested in diving into this new expansion, it's available for purchase right now. There was also an interesting update that hit the game alongside this DLC, and there's now a difficulty setting available. So if you struggle at Souls-like games and want an easier game to enjoy, now's your chance, especially as the base game is also on sale. One bit of exciting news that I have for you this week is the launch of the Finals Season 7, and I tell you what, this update is bloody massive and contains so many cool add-ons, improvements and so much more. I was actually lucky enough to be included in the preview event last week to get my hands on with this brand new season, and there's a lot for you to get excited about when Season 7 goes live this week. From brand new gadgets, including the likes of an SMG that fires out health for the light builds, to the breaching drill for the medium class, there seems to be a lot of strategic changes to the existing metas. There's also a brand new map, and this one has to be one of my favourites so far. From a more decrepit and overgrown part of the city to one that's near futuristic and pristine. It has a ton of verticality as well, and I can see a lot of different plays happening here. It's great seeing this awesome update, and it finally arrives for Xbox consoles on the 12th of June. If you want to see some more previews like this, let me know down below. So, what games are you looking forward to diving into this week? I'm keen to hear what tickles your pickle, and if you'd be diving into Final Fantasy 16 since it launched. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more Xbox news, reviews and updates every single day. Whilst here, why don't you check out my performance and comparison analysis of Final Fantasy 16. This one actually took me quite a bit of time to get together, but it's well worth looking into to see if this port is worth your time and money.